Hi, I want to make a video about jumping on the bandwagon, and this is a point I made in the previous video. I just want to make sure I made it clear enough. It was kind of shoehorned in there, kind of very subtly, about jumping on the bandwagon and how people, I think I mentioned at the beginning, and about the idea of people jumping on the bandwagon, sort of like, why are you thinking the way you are? Why are you recognize the truth? Someone from the outside, from their point of view, doesn't know why you wouldn't want to be them, even though they're all cool and excited. They think their life's really grand and great, and why you wouldn't want to be them, and why you'd rather be yourself. They see you suffering. Why would you rather be yourself and suffering in your circumstances the way you are? And why wouldn't you want to be happy like me? Isn't that the point of life, is to be happy, make other people happy, or at least me be happy and screw everyone else? Or at least if you're a little more smart, you recognize me be happy and they may happy, win-win. That's I scratch their back, they scratch mine. Or screw them, if at any cost, I'll get my way, if we can't both win. That's the mentality most people have. If I can't have my way, if we can't both win, I want to win myself. Or unless they are really obnoxious and they really have, a very insecurity complex, then they want to win no matter what. But that's because they didn't feel like they've won in the previous. They felt like they lost in another circumstance and they need to compensate. So it's either win-win by default, everyone wins, or if they don't get what they want, they retaliate, even if it's not the same person or same circumstance, and take from someone else, or vice versa. Or I'll take from myself if we can't both win-win, or find enough where I feel I'm adequately winning, and they're adequately getting by as well. But I wish I could have more. But if we could both win-win, I could give them 2% and I get 98%, that's fine. As long as we both win-win, that's fine. But I'm always going to want selfishness for me, regardless of the fact that we're winning. Giving them the least amount, letting them work for dirt wages or whatever it may be. They're getting by. They're working for the least amount of money, right? And they're living, they're working because they have no choice, but they're working, so they're winning, they're getting their wages, and I'm winning. So yay, right? We're both winning. Yeah, but they're winning at a much greater cost. That's the difference. And you're winning with absolutely no cost at their cost, at their expense. And that's when you need to recognize their expense is just as important as your expense. And you're not expending anything. You're taking everything and leaving them with absolutely nothing. With absolutely, a little fleck. Flicking something in their direction and saying, there you go. Well, I have my big pile of whatever it may be in the back, in my vault. So you're kind of stuck in that situation, and it takes a real asshole to really start collecting that much before they can even recognize flicking something in their direction. If they have such a collection, they're obviously there's something selfish and greedy of human nature going on, falling for it. There's some falling for the game when you have that much for yourself and not for anyone else. If they don't have just as big of a pile, if they can't get just as big of a pile, then there's obviously some mechanism controlling you to make you the a-hole. So you're falling for the game when you do that. When you're selfish, you're falling for it, so you're an idiot. The smarter you are, the more you recognize. That's the singularity of life. There's one direction, and that's all there is. Sort of like jumping on the bandwagon, recognizing the truth. There's one direction when recognizing the truth. And once you recognize the truth, it doesn't matter how you get to the truth. It doesn't matter. It's about getting to the truth. It doesn't matter if you had to experience it. We prefer you just to learn it. Obviously, it matters if it's going to be a negative on you, but if in the end it's going to make up for the negative you had to experience, recognize the truth, that means something. Obviously, it's about recognizing the truth in the end, to the truth. But, to the sentient being, based on that idea, it's best to just learn it beforehand, or learn as much of a lesson early on than learning a greater lesson, a worse lesson, a debilitating lesson later on. It's better to learn it earlier on, so later on you can go through less negative to compensate for the positive and prevent more from the future, or prevent more bad in the future. So it's about preventing more in the end. So it doesn't matter how you get to the truth, from the truth's perspective, from the idea of a singular way of getting to the truth. But to the sentient being, it's better to learn the truth easier and earlier than harder and later, or harder or later by themselves at all. It's about learning it easier and earlier, and it's better to do it that way than later and harder. So the truth to the sentient being, it doesn't matter how you get to the truth, or recognizing the reality, or becoming more honest with yourself philosophically, or and all sorts of things like that. But it's about it's not only that, but it's getting to the truth, and getting there as quick and easy as possible, and helping other people get onto it. And once there's more of you getting onto it, then they'll see a trend going on, and they'll just jump right onto it. sort of like all sorts of contrivances and trends in the past of cliches. They'll jump right on board because they're part of the sheeple mentality. They're being herded by the shepherd into their thing, protecting the sheep, protecting them from hurting themselves, running out into the thing, get eaten by wolves. The boy who cried wolf, the shepherd who cried wolf, or the Borg mentality, the hive mind, any kind of a number of analogies you can associate with that kind of mentality of thinking. And then back to the idea, the point I wanted to make that I lost myself, and I think the previous video that I did myself here, I even lost it earlier, the idea of, why are you willing to why would you rather accept the truth or whatever is causing this kind of pain? They obviously don't think there's a pain. The pain you're having is not the truth. It's the truth can't be painful. Why are you associating truth with pain? And they're making some kind of distinction there that there's not a distinction. Obviously, you can still experience your fantasy, but recognizing the truth comes along with some kind of pain. And you can experience your fantasy. It's just you got to let go of them more. You got to let the weight go down when you're talking about logic, and you got to let this go down when you're talking about the something else. So it's about letting go of the fantasy when you're talking about the logic. So yeah. And why would you accept the reality? I mean, obviously, they're making a distinction as if the reality, the thing that you're experiencing, isn't the reality, and why would the reality have pain tied to it? And it's, well, once you recognize the truth, you want to have the truth, and you become just like that person, like the singularity of not the singular, but the linear line of experiencing life. You'd come to that conclusion, and you want to know the truth rather than being one of the Borg. And once the Borg see enough of these people, these aberrant, coming over to the truth side, they'll jump on board. And, and I mean not as perceptually or by experience, but they'll jump on board, sort of like the experience of learning things later, better, earlier, and easier. They'll just jump on board from seeing their friends and their family and whatever jump on board, and it'll just become a self-perpetuating cycle. So I think that's all I want to say. So that kind of concept of that kind of thing. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, and until next time, bye.